Hulk Hogan died today, or we're recording on a Thursday night. He died on Thursday at age 71. How do I feel about this? Terry Bollea was born in 1953. He was going to turn 72. Terry Bollea became Hulk Hogan in 1983. Hulk Hogan stopped being Hulk Hogan around, I'd say 2015. So he had a good what? So was that 30-year run? Is that 30?
Well,
So we always have conversations about separation. Can we separate the person from the persona? We've had conversation on this pod about R. Kelly, about him having great songs and being a great artist, and him having the other side of him that we don't appreciate, right? But we can still appreciate the music. Can we do that with a Hulk Hogan? Yeah, I think you can. I think you can appreciate what Hulk Hogan has done for the sport of wrestling, right? And say to yourself that you can be able to appreciate what he did and the pioneer that he was. I mean, we're talking about a guy that main evented 8 of the first 9 WrestleManias, right? This is a guy that I remember my favorite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 6. When it comes to like Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 6. What was WrestleMania 6, Claude? You remember?
wasn't that? What's your shirt?
It's not this. This is 7, I
That's
believe.
7 was
6.
Warrior. Wasn't 6 Macho Man and
That's 5. WrestleMania 6 was the Ultimate Challenge. Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
That to me, I think, was probably the best WrestleMania build that you can think of. 2 monumental powers going at it. The Warrior and his fan base, the rabid fan base that was with the Warrior at that time, the Intercontinental Champion. He was the rock and roll. And then you have Hulk Hogan, which is he's the ultimate babyface, the heavyweight champion. You got these 2 immovable forces or movable objects gonna go head to head at WrestleMania. That was box office. You know, WrestleMania between Hogan and Macho Man, I think that's probably the best storyline we've ever seen in regards to a year storyline that culminated at WrestleMania. So this is a guy that if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, there would be no WrestleMania. There would be no Super Bowl of wrestling in regards to WrestleMania. Hulk Hogan has that moniker. He does. At some point, though, he ended up... What's that sound? What is that?
I don't know. I was looking around. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's crazy. Anyway, Hulk Hogan ended up... That character ended up getting very stale after a point. And he ended up leaving WWE and went to WCW. And then, do you remember what the pay-per-view was, Claw, that changed the landscape of WCW?
Bash at the Beach.
Do you know what year that was?
96? No. 96.
96. July 7th, 1996. Changed the game forever. So this is a guy that impacted 2 organizations. And it's so crazy if you want to go ahead and think about it. Hulk Hogan was responsible for creating or helping WWE grow. He was also responsible for almost putting Vince McMahon out of business. So he had the control and the power to be able to manipulate 2 companies in different time frames, which speaks to his greatness. It really does. So when we can be able to look at that and think about his impact as when we were kids, and how much we idolized and loved Hulk Hogan and had the gear, had the accessories, I have all these things. And then fast forward now to, we're grown adults with families and realize that the man was so flawed and and had a lot of demons, I guess, and it just wasn't a good person. When you think about Hulk Hogan, the character, did a lot of good stuff for people. Make a Wish, all of these things that he did. But Terry Bollea, he had that situation where he got exploited by that guy, where his boy Bubba the Love Sponge had him having dealings with an ex-wife, and then he ended up suing, getting 100 million. But in that deposition, they found out that there was a recording of him getting upset about his daughter having a black boyfriend, and him using, racial slurs and all of that stuff, and admitting that he was a racist in those particular recordings, right? Then having his son, Nick Hogan, get into a bad accident, which caused Nick Hogan's friend to be a quadriplegic and paralyzed, and him not having any sympathy for the kid that actually got into the accident. Like, all of these things, him being estranged from his daughter, Brooke Hogan, to the day he died, just because, they had difference of opinion, and he just had a pride thing and an ego thing, and he didn't want to mend the fences on her terms. He would rather do it on her terms, and she ended up having children, and he had grandkids that he never met. And this is somebody who's supposed to be the pillar of a great family man and a great ambassador for whatever it is. There's rumors that his Great American Beer, that there was this girl who applied to be the brand ambassador, and she had a big social media following, and they hired her, never saw her, and then when they saw her, they realized that she was black. And then the next time, she got an email and said that the campaign was suspended due to budgetary reasons. And then a week later, they go ahead and restart the campaign with a white brand ambassador. So all of these things have happened under Terry Bollea's watch. So how can I be able to appreciate a man that's a bigot and a racist? I won't. So I'll never respect the man, but I respect the actual character of Hulk Hogan, of what he actually created. Him and Vince McMahon made magic, and they allowed the sport of wrestling to be as big and as box office as it is now. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have a WrestleMania, and we wouldn't have had the point of the NWO being as big as it was. It needed Hulk Hogan. If it was anybody else, say if it was Sting that made that trek down there and did the heel turn, yeah, it would have been nice, but it wouldn't have hit like how Hogan did. That was the greatest heel turn in wrestling history, right? And it had a domino effect in regards to guaranteed money for the boys, more money for the boys. It ended up generating big money across pay-per-view dollars. It caused the pay-per-view circuit to be a lot higher than it was. So Hogan did a lot of good stuff. But Terry Bollea, man, I'm not gonna kick his back in because he's dead. But yeah, I can separate the person from the persona. So rest wherever you're gonna rest, bro. And for the people that feel the other way, that they don't want to give him any credit, they want to go ahead and sully him and disrespect him and call him whatever they want, you're validated. You can do that if you want to. And for the other people that don't want to acknowledge that and just want to acknowledge his career of what he did, you can do that too. There's no right way to go about it. I would like to appreciate or highlight both. I will appreciate his career. I'm not going to appreciate the man. And that's where I'm going to leave it.